The Cumberland Valley Railroad left its fingerprints all over Shippensburg and surrounding areas.
We'll tell you about a new project to commemorate the railroad's impact.
All that and more right now. Wait, who's this?
Thanks for joining us for this special edition of SUTV. I'm Deanna Webster.
And I'm Sean McFarland. The development of the rail trailhead is right on track. Marshall Keeley took a look at how the project is coming together.
My office is 100 yards away from where this railroad car has been sitting for 30 years, abandoned and forgotten, a diamond in the rough.
The Cumberland Valley Rail Trailhead has its centerpiece. Shippensburg Township and Rotary Club commissioned the renovation of a 1956 rail car originally used on the Penn Central Railroad.
So our plan is over the spring and the fall to begin rehabilitating this boxcar, sanding it down and painting it, restoring the exterior and putting it on tracks on the new pad that's just down from the trail.
Once completed, the boxcar will be the focal point of the Shippensburg Station, a multi-use heritage and performance base. The car's interior will give guests a glimpse into the history of the railroad through video presentations and railroad artifacts. A deck will connect the boxcar's opening to the trail and provide a platform for special events.
Our goal here is to build a site that is not just about railroad heritage, but can also be used by community members and students for performances and festivals.
Although there's still much work to be done, the township hopes both the project and the community come together.
Whether you're a student, a faculty member, a staff member, an alumnus, a member of the community, you're going to be able to come here and really feel at home and feel like you're really part of something special.
For SUTV News, I'm Marshall Keeley.
The Rail Trail Council will unveil the Shippensburg Station in a ceremony next April. The Cumberland Valley Railroad was a driving force for commerce and transportation. Until the mid-1980s, the Cumberland Valley relied heavily on the railroad.
From its inception in the early 1900s, or sorry, the early 1800s, the Cumberland Valley Railroad served stations, all the way from down in Maryland up to Harrisburg.
I'm next, after you say this part.
The railroad was once used to haul the students to Shippensburg University.
Hi ho, women played a major role in the railroad's operation despite looming prejudice. Shippensburg native Marianne Shirk shares stories from her time working on the railroad.
I worked on the railroad for 10 years. I started at Amtrak in D.C., where I worked in an office, and needless to say, there were lots of women. I was an auditor for ticket sales. And we moved back to this area, and I applied for a job at Amtrak, and somehow Conrail picked up my application, and I was hired by Amtrak. I was hired as the first woman tower operator since World War II.
Marianne Shirk started working for the railroad 40 years ago this month. She said women weren't suitable enough to work for the railroad after World War II until 1977. The Cumberland Valley Railroad was integral to the war effort during World War I. It served as an efficient way to deliver materials for the war effort quickly.
It definitely played a factor in being able to move supplies down because it was one of the few railroads that was able to maintain Union control that moved down into Virginia and southern states.
The railroad would go on to serve the war effort greatly for the months to come.
The Cumberland Valley Railroad played an essential part in the Civil War. The train is one of the fastest modes of transportation. On that, the North used to move supplies into Confederate territory. Kendrick Gibbs of the Shippensburg Historical Society mentions the train's effectiveness in helping the Union war effort.
Since 1994, the Cumberland Valley Rail Trail Council has received grants, donations, and memberships so they can help create the rail trail.
There's newspaper articles from local newspapers based off of during the 1990s when they first wanted to start this project for the rail trail up until now. So we're able to find an actual report done by the rail trail, and that had everything from how much money they were granted from the national or state government.
The land was given by Conrail, but the railroad was owned originally by Pennsylvania Railroad, who then sold it to Conrail.
They wanted to create the rail trail as a place for the public to get together and learn about the history of the Cumberland Valley Railroad. They just paved it over the summer of 2017, and from what we researched, they want to extend the rail trail all the way into Carlisle.
Even though the University Rail Trail is open in Shippensburg, construction continues throughout the rest of the rail trail project. Chavez Ortiz, SUTV News.
One noteworthy battle the Cumberland Valley Railroad helped supply the Union Army was for the Battle of Antietam in 1862 outside of Hagerstown, Maryland. Cumberland Valley Railroad turns into a rail trail for the ship community. Chavez Ortiz has a story.
You're still on camera.
Me? Oh.
Oh, God.
Shippensburg University is looking to open up a boxcar exhibit that people can learn from all year round.
Whoa. Blood, sweat, and tears. Working on the railroad meant long days of back-breaking work. Most of the workers were Irish immigrants coming to America looking for a job.
Overwhelmingly, the folks who built the Cumberland Valley Railroad in the 19th century were primarily Irish immigrants to the United States, young men, fairly new to the country, and the railroad was entirely built by hand.
The labor may have been the worst there was, but the Irish immigrants needed a job.
The railroad was an important part in expanding the university. With the building of the railroad, Shippensburg would attract more students due to easy transportation.
There was a steep growth, percentage-wise, of students traveling up to 70 miles further before just to go to school. So people were traveling further to go to school, and then people were traveling further for trips because there was more, a greater accessibility to travel with a train than just by walking.
The train brought an economical advantage to the town and to the university as students could use the train to go in and out of town, and also brought in people from outside the area into Shippensburg. That's it for this special edition of SUTV News. I'm Sean McFarland.
And I'm Deanna Webster. Be sure to check out the Shippensburg Station and Museum this April.
Thanks for watching.